good, YouTube? Thank you for tuning into my channel. It's been a while. I go by the name Daedalus, and today is fight week, and we're gonna break down UFC 284. I'm only interested in the co-main event and the main event. The other matches are just fillers to me, so nothing really spectacular I'm looking forward to. So let's get down to the breakdown. So let's break down the Josh Emmett and Yair Rodriguez fight. That one is going to be an entertaining fight. Both of them have a unique style. I have Josh Emmett as the brawler and Yair Rodriguez as I call him like a video game fighter. Like, you know, like he does stuff that's can get you caught, but he also, he mimics sort of like a Tony Ferguson, like that type of fighter that takes risks on their moves. But you know, like that knockout he did on the Korean Zombie, that was pretty crazy, you know. So like I said, Yair Rodriguez is he's a acrobatic type fighter, you know, which is cool. But in this fight, I'm gonna take Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett is just a brawler, a complete fighter. I've been watching Josh Emmett for a while, and I'm like, yo, this guy's gonna be a champ soon. Like, that man look like he's built like a rock. His IQ is good. You know, he just hasn't had the opportunity. This will give him the opportunity to win a belt, which I think he totally deserves. So with that fight, Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett, I'm going Josh Emmett with third round TKO, third to fourth round TKO. Okay, so now we have Islam Makhachev versus Alexander the Great Volkanovski. This fight, before I predict this fight, I'm just gonna get into this pound for pound battle. Like, the UfC's messed up now. Like, I can't support that organization anymore. Like, I'm happy that one championship is coming down to America now, in the western part of the world. UFC like is rigging all these ranks. Like, one thing I have a problem with is how is Islam gonna be pound for pound if he beats Volkanovski? Like, Volkanovski is coming from a lower weight class, going up to try to win that belt. So if anything, the UFC's catered this fight to I think it's a plan between Khabib and the UFC into making Islam a star, you know. Like, Islam's not even known in Russia. He doesn't even have a title defense. He hasn't even emptied out a division. Like, how are you gonna be a pound for pound by beating someone in a class lower than you? If anything, like Volkanovski should be more commended for what he's doing. He took it up the challenge. Like, Volkanovski even said by the time he went in, when Makhachev won that belt, he wasn't even expecting Makhachev to even call him out, and Makhachev calling him like he wants to fight the pound for pound. Like, the pound for pound isn't a belt. It's not a fucking like, you win this belt, you beat me, you get it. Like, if that would make Leon Edwards beating Kamaru Usman number 2 pound for pound or number 1 pound for pound, you know. Like, this shit don't make sense. Like how, like, Islam, this guy, like, he never even defended the title, never even like emptied a class. Like, do something different, brother. Like, go get your empty out the weight class, you know, and defend your title. Go after a few more belts and stop living in the shadow of Khabib. You know what I'm saying? Like, Khabib is opening these doors for you. Like, it doesn't make sense for this guy. Like, even if he beats Volkanovski, I still don't consider him pound for pound. Like, how are you pound for pound with no title defenses? You ain't emptying out any weight class. You haven't put in the time, like, in the UFC. You lost your second fight to Adrian Martino. Like, come on, man. Like, UFC need to do better. That's why I commend Ngannou for leaving the organization, because it's like, if you stay with the UFC, you're still living in the old generation. We're in a new generation of fighters now. Like, you have to become like you your own age, your own promoter now. You know what I'm saying? Like a good example of who's doing it well, that's way better off leaving the UFC. Mike Perry. Mike Perry is just he's ready to go, you know, and I can understand why Ngannou left, because he earned that title in the UFC as the heavyweight champion. And for me, like growing up, even in boxing, like the heavyweight champion is always the baddest man on the earth. Like I don't care if you're pound for pound in the lower weight class. You run into a man like Ngannou and stuff like that, or anyone in the heavyweight weight classes, you're not pound for pound, because this guy's the guy that you would point to be like, yo, go beat that guy. Like it's cool. Like he's still like Alexander Volkanovski's still a small dude, you know. Like pound for pound, you're not the baddest man on the earth. Like the baddest man is always going to be that heavyweight fighter. Why you think Mike Tyson and all these boxers who's made all this money? Because mostly all the heavyweights is what people want to watch. They want to see Godzilla versus King Kong. They want to see those type of fights. Not like in the rankings, especially in the UFC where they rig their rankings and stuff like that. This doesn't make sense. Like that's why like with Ngannou, I'm looking forward to him. I'm trailblazing, like how Mike Perry is doing, into being your own promoter in this mixed martial arts, which separates yourself from how boxing, like it's like it's like the UFC's take doing exactly what Don King was, you know, and we frown upon Don King. You know what I'm saying? Like MMA is a good sport. That's my favorite sport to watch, but its pay structure for all these athletes putting their life on the line is not worth the work, you know. Like boxing is like, if they can do that, it's better for these fighters, you know. MMA, even though it's a more physical of sport, I feel that their pay structure needs to change. Like the UFC is the old news, old it's the old generation of fighting, you know. Like these guys are taking backyard brawlers and it's still using that same pay structure as if you were still a prize fighter fighting out of the bar or something like that, you know. Like that's why I hope that you know, with Mike Perry doing his thing, Ngannou having the option of doing this, it'll open the eyes to a lot of these fighters, which I see already that a lot of these fighters are actually leaving, which is good, you know. The UFC is just it's Hollywood. That's Hollywood fighting now. Like I consider like Johnny Cage, you know, like Johnny Cage without the pay, you know. So like we're in that time and era now, as you being a fighter, you know. Like we've learned it over and over again that we do not, like, you don't want to be taken advantage of by promoters that are putting you on something, you know. Like you living in the time of now, which you know, with the Logan brothers proving that, with Thriller and all that you can be your own what you call it, you can be your own freelance fighter, you know, and basically make all your contracts. It doesn't have to be a 7. Why would you make a 7 contract with a 7 contract fight deal with an organization that isn't gonna pay you the amount that you're worth? You know, like if anything, I would do single contracts with different organizations to get the best money and work out your own deals. It's time to change the game. Okay, so enough about that. Let's just get down to the, you know, to the breakdown of the fight. Islam versus Volkanovski. Volkanovski is a quick guy on his feet, powerful dude. You know, Islam is a powerful guy. You know, good in the clinch, good. He's just like a Khabib. You know, he practices like Khabib, and Khabib style is to, you know, maul you and take you down. And Islam is trying to claim that he's gonna knock out Volkanovski, which I can see that happening, you know. Like I ain't gonna be surprised if Islam beats him, but for him to get the pound for pound title over your first title defense, like that's messed up. Like, you know, like that's why this card, it's totally going against fighting regulations, you know. Like I just feel like yeah, it's a good fight, your first title events, and I feel that Volkanovski, you know, I would rather him win, which because it shows he put in the time, he put in the way. Even though I think he only had like 5 title defenses, you know, like that to me, you know, is good, you know. But when it comes down to this pound for pound list, like it's broken down to Demetrius Johnson is still the pound for pound for me. This guy's fighting. He left the UFC and still fighting in another organization and still holding records over, you know, holding titles and making a name for himself over there. If you're a true fighter, you don't have to fight under one umbrella. You know what I'm saying? One umbrella company like the UFC. You should know your worth and, you know, do a tour, like a fighting tour on all these organizations. You know what I'm saying? The UFC ain't cutting it no more when it comes to fighter pay, and I can see the movement that you know, Logan and the Logan brothers are doing, or that are trying to, you know, get that people aware, you know, of that. So with this fight, I'm predicting, because even though more of it is leaning towards Islam, I'm going for Volkanovski. I'm going Volkanovski TKO within the 4th or 5th, in the championship rounds, 4th or 5th round. And if it comes down to decision, I'm going Volkanovski. But that's basically because I just don't want Islam to win. I'd rather the UFC see that your crookedness ain't gonna work trying to, you know, put someone on the rankings like that, you know, like it's gonna spoil Khabib. We don't even talk about like that. You know, Volkanovski has some people from the Dagestan that are actually training with him, that people like shrug under the table, you know. And when that news came out, that's the same time that Khabib left the corner. He left the team once he heard that. It's more of a betrayal he felt that another teammate of theirs is going to another. But Volkanovski was training with those people in Bang Tao, Thailand for a minute. So it's not like these guys left. They were already trained there, and Volkanovski comes out there to train. You know, so yeah, this whole Khabib and it's like they're basically forcing themselves, you know, like into this thing, and it's more of an arrogance thing, I feel, you know. So let's go Volkanovski, fuck Islam, and fuck the UFC. All right. Yeah. So other than that, if you have any questions, put it down in the comments, and I'm always down to, you know, read your comments and, you know, leave a couple messages out there to reply to them. But yeah, other than that, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching, and I'm out.